So, good morning, students. So, today we came to our HVAC online class, day 12. So, last day we were dealing with some topics. Okay, so today we'll be dealing with heat load calculation by general method. And yesterday I have said that I will help you to, find out the U value. So I have given you the definition. What do you mean by the U value? Okay, this the ability to it's a reciprocal of the resistance. So which means that U value means how much it is able. It's a value which able to help the heat to flow. Okay, so lesser the U value, greater its resistance. Okay, so according to different materials, we have different U values. Depending upon that, our heat load value may change. Okay, so for a brick, the U value will be different compared to glass. Okay, the U value of a sheet, okay, metal sheet will be different with respect to some other wood. Okay, so each material have its own, U value. So U value means the amount of heat that can be able to flow through that particular material. Okay, so U value is very important for heat load calculations. So depending upon that only, you know, we know how much amount of heat can enter into our particular room. Okay, so the heat transfer greatly depends upon the type of material. Okay, depends upon the type of material, so that the U value is very important. So yesterday itself I have said that usually the U value will be given by the architect, because usually the architect is the person who gives us the project. So he is the person who designs the architectural plan and sections. So he, for most probably, he might be knowing the material that is used in his project. Correct. So we will be usually asking the architect or a client, okay, whoever it might be, who is giving the project. We'll be asking them what is the material that you are used for your construction, okay, and we'll be asking them, what is the U value, okay. So they will be giving the U value for different materials, for roof, for walls, for ceilings, all those things. They will be giving the U value. Depending upon the U value, we can find out the material, or we can find out the heat value. And in HAP, if we get the material, we could the U value will be produced by the HAP software itself. Okay, and if we know the U value, we'll be changing the material in such a way that uh, the value that the architect have given us should match by you changing the material. So if the architect gave the U value as 0.5 for wall, okay, so there is an option in HAP. There are n number of materials which is given in the HAP software. So we can change the material according to that, so that we can make the U value 0.5. Okay. So in such a way that we can rearrange the material, and we can at last we can get the value 0.5. So when I teach the HAP software, I will teach you more about that. So if the architect don't know the U value, okay, he is asking that kindly could you be able to calculate the U value? So now we will be saying that okay, we can calculate it, but provided they need to give the material, but they can already they can give it, right? Because they are the architect, they know which is the material that they have used. So we'll be asking them what is the material that you have used for your construction. You understood? So they will be giving the material. Okay. So they will be saying that half-inch, plaster will be there. Okay. Then you have some brick will be there. Sometimes they will be saying that they have made with the concrete. Okay. So we have different materials. So today we can study about how to calculate the U value. Okay. So how to calculate the U value, and I have already given you the definition of U value, right? So today you can write today's date with the day 12 it seems, right? Day 12, and you can see what how to calculate the U value. Okay. Um, so I'll share my screen. This. I think you can see this. Okay. I think is it blur or can you see the tabular column here? So yeah, we are going to find the U factor. Okay, U value or U factor calculation. So in order to find the U factor, we need to know the different conductivity or resistance of different materials. We need this graph or we need this tabular column, what I have shown you right now. Okay. So this is the different material that is being shown here. This is the different material that has shown here. According to that, its conductivity is given as well as the resistance is given. So we can use any of these two values to find out the U factor. Okay. So let's see what are the different materials that we usually use for this construction. So sometimes we may use marble, granite. Okay, its conductivity is 20, and its unit is given BTU per inch per HR plus square feet. Okay. Now its resistance is also given. Its unit is also already given. Okay. Now, so marble, its thermal conductivity K is 20 and its resistance is 0.05. Okay, so we need these two values or we need any of these values to find out the U factor. Okay, because when we are doing heat load calculation by E20 sheet also, E20 estimation 20 sheet also we will be studying tomorrow, or let's see whether we can start it today itself. We can do it. We need these values. Okay, the formula is for finding that how much heat should be, how much we are going to find the how much amount of heat is produced, right, or how much amount of heat is coming into our room. That amount is calculated by the formula Q is equal to UA delta T. So in that U is this U factor. So we need that U so that we can insert in that formula and find out the Q value. Q means the amount of heat. So this is very important. So these values are important. Okay. So different values of different resistant or thermal conductivity values of different materials is being shown in this tabular column. So for marble, it is the thermal conductivity is 20 and the resistance is 0.05. For concrete, it is 12 and it is 0.08 resistance. For brick, it is 5 and resistance is 0.2. For cement plaster, okay, thermal conductivity is 8 and resistance is 0.12. Wood, it is 1 and resistance also 1. Glass 0.8, this resistance is 1.25. Okay, 1.25. So AC sheet 2.7, 0.37, water 4.2, 0.24. So different material has been given. Now these two are also very important: outside air and inside air. So if there is a material or there is a construction, a wall is there. So we'll be calculating the outside air as well as the inside air also. So when we need to take if we need to find the U value, we'll be looking this outside air value as well as the inside air value also. Okay. So this is the tabular column in which different material is being given. According to different material, its thermal conductivity and resistance is already given. Okay. So usually the conductivity is inversely proportional to the resistance. If resistance is more, thermal conductivity is less. Thermal conductivity is more, resistance is less. So this thermal conductivity is inversely proportional to the resistance. Okay. So if you get the resistance value, the sum of all the resistance, if you reciprocate, if you give 1 by resistance, you will be getting the thermal conductivity. Okay. So if you get the thermal conductivity, you divide it with 1, you will be getting the resistance. So now we can see, you just write the heading U factor or U value calculation, and you can write this. U equal to overall heat transfer coefficient, and its formula is dT per HR plus feet square degree Fahrenheit. So humidity ratio, okay, dT per humidity ratio feet square degree Fahrenheit. So we have to find out the overall heat transfer coefficient of different materials. So if you need to find out the U, overall heat transfer coefficient, or U factor, uh, you can do by two method. Like if you know all these U value, you can just add it, or if you get the resistance, this value, add all this value of resistance and divide by 1. So it is 1 divided by sigma R. Sigma R means the sum of all the resistance. So how many materials are there? You have to add all those resistance with its area, with its thickness. Okay. So sigma R is the sum of the resistance. So we know that the sum of the resistance is, or the resistance value is already given in the tabular column according to different material. Correct. So we are going to see what are the material that is given, or what is the material of the construction for our project. So we'll be seeing the, or we'll be taking the value of that material, and we'll be taking the resistance with respect to that material. Okay. And we'll be equating in this formula. So U is equal to overall heat transfer coefficient, U equal to 1 by sigma R, which means that the sum of resistance. And in order to find the sum of resistance, this is the formula. OA. OA means outside air, plus R1 into A1. R1 means if for example, if there are three materials, one is brick, then outwards there will be a cement plaster, then inward also there will be a cement plaster. For example, you take like that. So there are three materials. Okay. So after a cement plaster, you just think about like there is a gypsum, sheet covering also. So there are four materials. Okay. So R1 A1. R1 means the resistance of the first material into A1. A1 means that the area, okay, or the thickness. R2 means the second material resistance with that thickness. So how many materials are there? You have to add all those things. At last you have to plus IA, means inside air. Okay, then you will be getting the sigma R. When you get the sigma R, you equate in this formula 1 by sigma R, you will be getting the U value. Okay, so this is the formula, and we can do one question also. So if the architect or the concerned person didn't give you the U factor or U value, you can calculate like this. Okay. So once you finish this, you just give a thumbs up. What about others? Have you finished this? Okay. So we can do a question. Okay. I don't know whether you'll be able to read this. I will dictate this. Calculate, just write an example. Calculate the overall heat transfer coefficient of 4-inch brick wall with a half-inch cement plaster on both sides. Calculate the overall heat transfer coefficient of for 4-inch brick wall with a half-inch cement plaster on both sides. Okay, and you have to draw this also. Draw like this. This is the brick. It's a 4-inch brick wall, and both the sides you will be having a half-inch cement plaster. It might be this will be the outside and this will be the inside. So you can write O bar A, which means outside air and inside air. Okay, this is inside air, this is outside air. This is half-inch cement, 4-inch cement plaster. Sorry, this is half-inch cement plaster on the both the sides, and this is 4-inch brick wall. Once you finish drawing this, just let me know. So, will you be able to answer this? What else you need if you want to answer this? What you need? You need the tabular column, right? You need to know the resistance, right? If you know the resistance, you will be able to answer this. Correct. So, what is the formula? You can write this formula. The same formula. Sigma R equal to OA, means outside air, plus R1A1, which means the resistance of the first material into area or the thickness of the first material plus. So totally how many materials are here? There are 3 materials, right? Which is half-inch cement plaster, 4-inch brick wall, and again half-inch cement plaster. So 3 materials are there. And not only that, you have to add outside air plus inside air also. Okay. So whichever question, you have to add this. This both are mandatory. Outside air plus inside air, you have to add it. Plus, the next thing you have to know is that what are the different materials which is given. Okay. So what you have to do is that you have to multiply the thickness with the R value or the resistance value. Okay. So here you have three materials. Three materials in the sense total two materials, but there are three. Okay, there are three half-inch cement plaster on the both the sides, plus one plus 4-inch brick wall. Right. So first one, the formula is outside air plus first one R1A1. R1A1 means what? Resistance of the cement plaster plus its thickness plus R2. R2 means what? The resistance of the second material, which is brick, into A2. A2 means what? Its thickness. Now R3. R3 means the resistance of again the third material with its A3. A3 means what? Its thickness plus inside air resistance. So this is the formula. Okay. So can you do the answer if I show the tabular column? Can you try it out? Yeah, just try it out. If you if you didn't get, I will show afterwards. Okay. So you can write this formula. This is the formula. Outside air plus R1A1 plus R2A2 plus R3A3 plus IA. So R1 means the resistance, A1 means the thickness. Okay. So by the help of this tabular column, would you be able to answer that? Just see. And let me know the answer. Okay. You can give your answer in the chat box. 24.5. Is it the U value or R value? $24.5 is wrong. Have you added the outside air and inside air? Yeah, thickness is in inch. Just multiply with that inch itself. Yeah, Kirti is getting the correct answer. That is correct. Whether is it R, either, okay, R value. What about others? U value is equal to, yeah, Kirti got the correct answer. Where did we know loss? What about Jacob? Don't know how to answer it? It's simple calculation only. It's inch only. Just multiply with inch. That's fine. Don't want to change into units, okay? Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, correct. So mainly this thickness and all will be coming in inch only. We won't be saying in feet, okay? But feet won't come. So this is the way that you can write it. So sigma R is equal to OA means outside air plus R1 A1 plus R2 A2 plus R3 A3 plus inside air. So OA means outside air means 0.25 plus R1. What is the R1 or what is A1? Half. So half inch cement plaster plus 4-inch brick plus half-inch cement plaster plus inside air. So you'll be getting 0.25 plus half into 0.12 plus 4 into 0.2 plus half into 0.12 plus 0.65. Correct? Because half-inch cement plaster. So for cement plaster, what is the resistance? Cement plaster, what is the resistance? 0.12. So 0.12. So plus 4 into brick. What is the resistance for brick? Brick is 0.2. So 0.2. So when you add all those things, you will be getting the sigma R value. So when you are reciprocating it or when you are dividing with 1, you will be getting the U value. So this is the way to find out the U factor. Okay. And what are the materials that which you are giving? According to that, you can find out the answer. Okay. Usually it will be given by the architect, or if you get the material, you could easily find out the answer of it. Okay. So this is the way that you will be finding out the U factor. Okay. Now we are going to find out the heat load calculation by one more method, okay, which is known as O general sheet. So O general sheet, O general is a make or a brand. Okay, they have manufactured, or they have produced an Excel sheet for their equipment. So, but both when you are calculating, you'll be getting a similar value only. So actually, I have yesterday shown you what are the different softwares or methods to calculate the heat load calculations, right? We have E20 calculation sheet. We have OGen that we are going to study right now. OGen sheet, OGeneral, okay. A calculation sheet we have. Then we have HAP software. We have Elite software. We have Trace, okay, 700, okay. We have n number of methods to find out the heat load calculation. So here, today we will be studying about OGeneral. Okay, it's an Excel sheet. We have to just give the values according to our specification of the room or the application. Depending upon the application, we will be giving the specification and input values in the Excel sheet. So from there itself, we will be able to find out the answer. Okay, so I will give you a question. So just write the heading O general. Heat load calculation by O general. Heat load calculation by O general. Okay. So you can write a question. So can you see this? Okay. This is a classroom. Okay, I believe you can see this. This is a classroom. So we are going to find out the capacity of air conditioner that we have to use for this classroom. Okay. So just see this. This is a classroom and there is an attached roof. Okay. So this room is an unconditioned space. So we have to condition this classroom. We need air conditioning to this particular classroom, and this is an unconditioned space. We don't want any air conditioning. So A, C, D, E, and F shows the window. This is the window. Okay. A, C, D, E, and F is the window. Now, this is the orientation. So the orientation is very important. North side, south side, west side, and east side. This is very important. Okay. And orientation of a building is important. So this is the classroom. This is the unconditioned space. The dimension is already given, 30 into 30 feet, which means 30 feet and 30 feet length and width. And the unconditioned space, 30 feet is the length and 20 feet is the width. And A, C, D, E, and F shows the window, and A, E, and F, the dimension of the window is 4 into 5 feet, 4 feet width and 5 feet height. Okay. Now, size of the window C and D, this window C and D, the size is 5 into 5 feet. Okay. Now, this is a door. D shows door. So the size of the door is 7 into 5 feet. Okay. And you can take the height of the classroom as 10 feet. So 10 feet means normally approximately 3 meters. So normally a height of the building can be more than 3 meters, but normally the usual height of a building is 3 meters or 10 feet. So here you can just assume, or you can take the height of the classroom as 10 feet. Okay. and the orientation is this. So what we are going to do right now is we are going to find out the capacity or the heat load calculation inside this classroom. This is a classroom or a lecture room. Okay. And we are going to find out how many tons of air condition should be given, or what is the capacity of the AC that has to be given to this classroom of 30 into 30 feet. Okay. So do one thing, draw this. Do not skip any of these things. I need this orientation and I want the size of the window also and the height of the room. All these values are important. So this is Ogen means normally it's a sheet, okay? It's a Excel sheet, or you will be having a normal sheet also. So if there are 5 rooms, you'll be having single sheet for each 5 rooms. So 5 sheets for 5 rooms. So in that you will be writing all those values. Okay. So this is the example that I'm going to show you. The same example we can do it for E20 also, or half also. Okay. So this is important. So you just draw this. Did you finish writing this? Completed? Yeah. What about others? I think everyone have finished, right? So we can uh, yeah, so we can deal with our origin calculation sheet. Okay, our origin calculation sheet. So what you have to do is that I will share that screen. Okay, uh, and I will give you this sheet also to you for practice. Okay. So can you see this? Can you see this Excel sheet? Yeah. Now you have to see, you know, this is all general air conditioners heat load calculation sheet, which is been, produced or manufactured or designed by all general air conditioners. Okay, this is typically for their, equipments, but still there is no much difference when choosing for other brands also. So, anyways, we can just see how to calculate the ton or heat load or the capacity of the air conditioner by this method or general air conditioners heat load calculation sheet. So here you can see there is description, there is quantity, factors and BTU per hour. This BTU per hour is the amount of heat. So we'll be adding all the heat, sum of the heat that will be converted into ton of refrigeration. So you know that 1 ton is equal to 12,000 BTU per hour, right? So we'll be calculating how much amount of heat is being produced or released by different equipments or by different, by people, by windows, by wall. Okay, we are going to see from different, areas or different, items. We'll be seeing the amount of heat which is being generated. Then we'll be adding all those things. Okay, so here you can see a description. First description is people. So you know that there is a latent heat is being evolved or a heat is being evolved from people because of the latent heat, right? Or a heat will be produced from people. So I am sitting here. If 10 people come here or 20 people come here, according to that, there will be change in the, condition of my room because you know that the heat will be produced from people also. Understood? So we are going to see how much heat is being produced by this people. Okay. So what now? What is the area? What is the area of our? What is the area of our classroom? The area of our classroom is equal to 30 into 30 feet. So 900 feet square, right? So the area of our classroom is equal to 900 feet square. Correct. So 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 leave that. We know that it is 900 feet square. So it is asked that the people, first one they have asked about the people. People means the number of people. They have asked about the number of people. So we are going to see what is the number of people in a lecture classroom. Okay. So we have a tabular column. I'll show you. Let's see. And there is a ASHRAE. By the ASHRAE, there is an occupant density. A sheet is there, occupant density. So according to different, according to different, category. According to different category, there are different occupant density. How many people should be there in this particular room, or in a bedroom, or in a classroom? According to the area, the ASHRAE have given a minimum, occupant density. For example, you can see here, it is table 661, the minimum ventilation rates in breathing zone. That is the topic, that is the heading of this, table. So, and you can see here, occupant category, occupancy category. You can see here, cell, day room, guard station, booking, waiting, daycare, classroom, lecture hall, art classroom, so computer lab. So different, different categories are given here. Okay, different categories are given here. This is ASHRAE 62.1 standard. Okay, by the help of that, by this table, we are going to see how many number of people can be placed in our particular lecture hall. So you know that our topic, or the our problem is, or the our question is a classroom or a lecture hall. We can take it as a lecture hall. I am choosing this as a lecture classroom. Okay, not lecture hall, lecture classroom. So in my lecture classroom, you can see here, this is the occupant category. So here there are classrooms. So this is my lecture classroom. So in my lecture classroom, I can see CFM per person, liter per second, CFM per square feet. I can see here, and yeah, this is the occupant density. This occupant density is been shown for 1000 feet square or 100 meters square. 100 meter square is almost 1000 feet square. So occupant density for 1000 feet square. So for my lecture classroom, what is my occupant density for 1000 feet square? It is 65. Correct. For my lecture classroom, my occupant density is, or the number of people is 65 for 1000 feet square. So what is my actual area of my classroom? It is 900 feet square. Correct. So for 1000 feet square, it is 65. So for 900 feet square, how much should be there? How many people can be accommodated in 900 feet square? Can you give answer? For 1000 feet square, it is 65. So you have already seen from this tabular column. 65 people can be accommodated in 1000 feet square if it's a lecture classroom. So my question is, or our question is lecture classroom only. So I don't have 1000 feet square, but my feet square is only 900 feet square. So what will be my answer? How many people can be accommodated in that classroom? Yeah, it is almost 58 point something you got, right? You got 58 point something, right? So 58.5. So when you get 58.5, you just round it and write as 59. So the number of people will be 59. Correct. Yeah, 59. So 59. So in this first, number of people, what we can give? Number is 59. So from the tabular column we have found it is 59. So this factor is a constant. In order to convert the number of people into BTU per hour, you just multiply it with 600. It is already given here. So you got 35,400 BTU per hour. Okay. So already you got 35,400 BTU per hour in this first, topic, or in this first description. So you just see here, there are 11. Okay. 11 descriptions are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11 descriptions are here. According to that, what and all values that we have to give it here, we have to give it. Then everything will be added here and it will be converted to the ton of refrigeration. Fine. So our people is over. So quantity is given and automatically it is just multiplied with a factor 600 and its BTU per hour is already given here. Now, so you can see 11 descriptions are there. So our first description is over. First description was people. Correct. So that is over. Now, the second one is windows. So we know that from where and all, if it's a room, so you just imagine from where and all the heat can come to our particular room. Yeah, the first one was people. The number of people inside the room, the heat will be generated. Next, if there is a window which is exposed to sun, there is a chance of heat which comes from the sunlight. There is a chance of entering heat from the sunlight through this window. So they have asked, so they have particularly asked in this description about the window, and we have to answer according to what they have described here. Okay. So here, the second description, what they have said is that windows exposed to sun, total square feet. And they have said that what you have to choose is figure this item for the one sun exposure having largest windows value. Okay. The second one they have asked is windows which is exposed to sun. Okay. Its total square feet or its square feet. And which value you have to give is figure this item or figure the window for the one sun exposure having largest window value. So you can see here. So in our question, you can see here, you know, we are assuming that from all these sides, the sunlight will be, or all these walls are exposed to sunlight. This east, we can see north, south, and west and east is the orientation. So from this side, you will be getting heat, or sunlight will be hitting your wall. Here also the sunlight will be hitting your wall, and here also the sunlight will be hitting your wall. This wall, the sunlight won't be hit because it is inside. Right? There is no direct contact with the sunlight and the wall. Right? So except this wall or except the wall at the south orientation, west, north, and east wall is exposed to sun. Right? This part is exposed to sun. This part is exposed to sun. This part is also exposed to sun, except this part because this is coming inside a room. Okay. So you can see there is a wall here towards my room, and it is directly, you know, it is been having a contact with the outside air, or it have a direct exposure to the sunlight. I have a front room also. I have a front also. This is also directly exposing to the sunlight. But you just imagine this is a wall. It is not exposing to sunlight. It is just a partition only. It will be calling this as partition wall. So this wall is a partition wall which is not exposed to direct sun. Okay, but the west, north, and east side of the wall is directly exposed to sun. So what they have asked is that windows exposed to sun, total square feet, figure this item for the one sun exposure having the largest window value or largest area. So in this case, what is the largest window value? You have windows A, C, D, E, and F, and all these windows are exposed to sunlight. And you can see they have asked this. They have asked is that what is the largest value or largest size of the window? So the size of the window A, E, and F. A, E, and F is 4 into 5, 20 feet only. When it comes to C and D, the area is 5 into 5, 25 feet. Okay, so we have to give this window size. Why? Because they have asked the figure this item for the one exposure having the largest window value. So the largest window value is 25 feet. This is only 20 feet. C and D having 25 feet. And they have asked only take one window. Figure this item for the one sun exposure having the largest value. Figure this item for the one sun exposure having largest window value. So what will be the value that we are giving here? Just give 5 into 5, 20. Okay, so windows exposed to sun, total square feet. Figure this item for the one sun exposure having the largest window value. So 25. Give it as 25 feet square. Okay, so they have asked square feet. And what you have to do is that when you are given this 25, you have seen a factor. You have to multiply this with a factor known as A. It is already given here. So from there you will be getting this A value. Yeah, you will be getting the A value from this down. Just see here. Windows exposed to sun, solar radiation factor for different orientations inserted to be or to be inserted at A. So here see, these are the different criteria. Direction of window face. No shade, inside shade, outside shade. Shade means you know it. There is a window. There will be a shade for the window. Okay, some days there won't be a shade for the window. Okay, some days there will be inside shade or some days there will be outside shade. Okay, some days inside and outside shade. So here we can choose any one. So for the time being, I am choosing no shade. There is no shade for my window. Okay, so windows exposed to sun and which is having the largest window value. So C and D have the largest window value, that is 25 feet, which is facing towards the north orientation, correct? So I am choosing that this window doesn't have any shade. So it is in the north side. Okay. So I am going to see my factor. So here I am going to insert the value of A. So direction of window face, no shade, which is facing in northeast, northeast, west. It is facing to the north side, right? North side. So this is the column. With respect to no shade, what is my value? It is 15. Okay, because it is facing towards the north side. It is facing towards the my C or D window, which having the largest value, is facing towards the north side. And I have assumed that this is having no shade. So what I have did, I have taken no shade, north exposure. So what is my value? 15. So I have to insert the number 15 at A. Windows exposed to sun, solar radiation factor for different orientations to be inserted at A. So I have to insert the value 15 at A. Where is that A? Here. Here is the A. So just put 15 here. So you will be getting its BTU per hour. 375. So Windows exposed to sun. Okay. Now, next they have asked about the light and electrical appliances. Light and electrical appliances. So this light and electrical appliances, mainly this ASHRAE will be giving this light power densities, LPD, okay, for different categories of applications. And electrical load will be getting directly from the, or we have to ask the electrical engineer, what is the load that you have used for your particular room. That information you will be getting from the electrical engineer. Okay, sometimes there will be fan, there will be tube lights. Okay, and we'll be knowing or we'll be asking how many fans are there, how many tubes are there. Then we'll be adding all those watts and we'll be converting into watts per square feet and we'll be giving it here. Understood? So this here, this is light and electrical appliances. So here we have taken it separately. Okay. So light load, if they will be giving the light load and electrical load. If they haven't given the light load, we will be assuming or we will be taking from the ASHRAE for the different categories. So we can see here. This is the ASHRAE's light power density, sheet only. Light power density sheet only. Okay, table 9.5.1. Light power density using the building area method. So Here it shows different types of building. Okay, and its watts per feet square is given. Watt per feet square is given. So you can see different building area type. You can see different hospitals, library, multi-family, okay, post office, okay, and you can see here also light power density is using space by space method. So you can see, you can take it from here also: office, conference, meeting, multi-purpose, classroom, lecture room. Okay, yeah. So we have lecture, training, classroom. So what is our LPD? Light power density is 1.4. Correct. So from this tabular column, you could get 1.5 watt per feet square. Because why? Our application is a classroom or a lecture room. So according to Ashway, 1.4 is the LPD, light power density. Okay. What C and D? Okay. So it is 1.4. 1.4. 1.4 is our LPD. So 1.4 is our LPD. So what do you have to give? Just give 1.4. 1.4 here. Okay. And what is our area? What is our area? Area of our 900 feet square. Correct. So give 900. So you will be getting light load as 1260. And we have electrical load also. We have to find the electrical load. So this electrical load should be given by the electrical engineer. So otherwise you have to go to the you have to ask how many fans or how many tubes or how many electrical equipments are there. Then you have to go and you have to find its value. For fan, how much watts? For tube light, how much watts? Okay, you add all those things, and then what you have to do? Then convert into watts per square feet and give that value here. So if you didn't get, you just assume and give us how much you can electric. There won't be big electrical loads and all in the classroom. So just give 0.5. That might be enough. 0.5 watts per square feet, and area it is 900. So you will be getting total 1710. 1710 is our total electrical and light load. So this 1710 will be automatically will be seen here. Okay, and when it is multiplied with 3.4, you will be getting our answer in BTU per hour. Okay, so 5814 BTU per hour for light and electrical appliances. Now coming to the fourth one, it is subtotal, and automatically it will add 1, 2, and 3, and you will be getting the total value here. Okay. Now coming to the fifth one. Okay, what is the fifth one? Windows. Total of all window. Okay, so we are going to find out the total square feet of all the windows. Correct? So they have said that what is the total of all the windows? How many square feet will be coming for all the windows if you are adding all the windows? If you are adding all the windows, what will be the total square feet? Just give the answer. So you have C, D, A, E, and F. So find the total square feet of all the windows. How many square feet will be coming for all the windows? So A, E, and F, it is 4.5. So 4.5 into 3 will be coming. Okay. C and D are two windows, which means that 5.5 into 5 each. Only windows. Okay, don't take door, only windows, and see how much is the square feet, total square feet. That's what they have asked there. Windows, total of all windows, total square feet. Okay, Binas said. What about Vinu and others? Jacob is not present there. I'm not getting any response from you. Yeah, the electrical engineer will be giving it watts per feet square or watts. If you have watts, you could just convert it into watts per square feet. Divide by its square feet, you'll be getting it watts per square feet. Or just go to the app, you will be just getting the, you can convert it also. Or go to the Google and you will be getting watts per feet square also. Convert watts divided by watts per feet square. Usually we will be using app only. So if they give watts, that is fine. Okay, we have the option to give watts in the app software. So if you are giving watts, you will be just you can just directly convert from the app watts per feet square also. You can give two options. You can give watts as well as watts per feet square also in app. Yes, Binas, it is E20 calculations. You have to come on time, okay? It is not E20 calculations, it is all general. Okay? It is all general sheet. We are finding the heat load calculation by all general. So what is the answer? What is the total area of the window? Only Binas have answered. What about others? Okay, yes, Kirti. So it is 110, okay? It is 110 square feet. So total windows total square feet is 110. So 110. So fine, 110. Now 110 you have to multiply with the factor B. So from where we'll be getting B? We'll be getting B from this window transmission factor, various outside design temperature, insert at B. So you have outside or outdoor dry bulb temperature. So here I am taking Kochi as my city. So I am going to see what is my normal temperature here. Okay. So we have different state locations. Okay, state. Okay. Here it is Kerala. So here in Kerala, I have taken Cochin. Okay. So in Cochin, my dry bulb temperature. Dry bulb means the outside temperature. Okay. We have dry bulb, wet bulb, and the RH. Okay. So this will be helpful for E20 also. So my dry bulb temperature for this particular location is 95 degree Fahrenheit and wet bulb is 82 degree Fahrenheit. Okay. So 95 degree Fahrenheit is my outside temperature. Okay. Which means almost 35 degrees Celsius. So outside dry bulb temperature it is 95 degree Fahrenheit or 35. So what is my value? Is 15. Again it is 15. Right? So I have to insert at B. How much was that? 15. Right? So I'm going to insert 15 here. So I got 1650 as my windows total window. Okay. Now window is over. Now I am coming to wall. So from wall, how can I get the or how much amount of heat is being transmitted to my roof through the walls. Okay. So window is over. Light and other electrical equipment is over. People is also over. Now we are coming to walls. Okay. Now when coming to wall, it is subdivided into A, B, and C. Okay. So we can see it. So outside wall, north exposure. Outside wall, north exposure. What is the square feet? So outside wall, north exposure. What is the square feet? Let's see what is the square feet. So outside wall, north exposure. So this side. So you know that the length of this classroom is 30. And height you can take as 10 feet. So the area is 300 square feet, right? So if you got the area, but you have to reduce this both, right? C and D. Because we want only wall, right? So we have to reduce 300 minus C and D, how much? 5 into 5, 25. 25 into 2, 50. So 300 minus 50 equal to 250 square feet. So this area is equal to the area of the wall is equal to 250 square feet when we are excluding this C and D. You understood what I am saying? Is there any doubt? No doubt, right? So north side wall exposure, what is the area? It is 30 into 10. 30 is the length and 10 is the height. So 300 square feet minus, we are reducing this window size because we have already found out the window, right? So C and D, totally the square feet is equal to 50. This C 25 and D 25. 5 into 5, 25, 5 into 5, 25, 25 plus 25, 50. So 300 minus 50 equal to 250. So I am giving north wall or outside wall north exposure is equal to 250 square feet. Okay, now that I have to multiply with C. So from where I will be getting C? Yeah. Wall transmission factors, various outside design temperature. It's shown here. Insert at C. So A, outside wall north exposure. It has been divided into light construction and heavy construction. So here, anyway, you can assume whatever you want. So here I am just giving light construction only. Okay, I am giving an option light construction. Light construction, what will be my value? My temperature, outside temperature is 95 degree Fahrenheit, right? For Kochi. So outside wall north exposure light construction, what will be my value? This 4 or 95 degree Fahrenheit. So that I have to insert in C. I have to insert value 4 in C. So I am inserting value 4 in C. So I got 1000 BTU per hour. Now, other than north exposure. Other than north exposure means what? Exclude north exposure. Other than north exposure means exclude this side. What are the other two exposures? This side and this side, right? This side and this side, which means west side and east side. So you don't want to reduce this door, okay? Don't want to reduce this door because this door itself is be acting as a wall itself only, okay? Because there won't be any. It will be made of some wood, okay, or some hard materials. There won't be, glass or something like that. So assume it as wall itself. So other than north exposure means west exposure and southeast exposure, right? So you should be able to know what is the area of this and reduce or subtract this area with A, E, and F. Okay, what they have asked is other than north exposure. What is the other than north exposure? This west side and east side. What is the area of the west side? What will be the value of the west side area? It is same 30 into 10. This is also 30 only. 30 into 10, how much? 300. Here also 30 into 10. How much? 300. So 300 plus 300? 600. 600 minus, what is the area of this window? A, 20. What is the area of this window? E and F? E and F, that is also 20. So 20 plus 20 plus 20. How much? 60. 60 minus or 300 minus or 600 minus 60. How much? So what will be that? 600 minus 60, how much? 540, right? 600, 540, right? Yes, 540. So other than north exposure, what is my square feet? 540. Now, how to multiply with C, correct? You have to multiply with C. So I am going down. Other than north exposure, light construction, 95 degree Fahrenheit. What will be my value? 7. So I am inserting at C, 7. I got 3780. Then what they have shown, inside wall. Inside wall. So you have outside wall as well as exposure wall as well as you have inside wall. Between conditioned and unconditioned space only. So we have an inside wall also, right? Correct. We have an inside wall. Which is that inside wall? This is our inside wall. So this inside wall is known as a partition wall. So now you listen carefully. Okay. When can we call a wall as a partition wall? We can call a wall as a partition wall when one room is conditioned and other room is unconditioned. Only then we will be able to call that wall as a partition wall. Understood what I am saying? So for example, if this room was conditioned space, even though if there was a wall in between these two rooms, we won't be able to say that as a partition wall. We will be able to say this as a partition wall only when one room is conditioned and other room is unconditioned. If these two rooms was conditioned, if at all there was a wall in between this, we won't be able to call this as a partition wall. Okay. So now it can call it as a partition wall because this side is an unconditioned space and this is a conditioned space. So this is a partition wall. So what will be the area of this partition wall? What will be the area of this partition wall? Same, right? 300 into 10. 30 into 10. 300 square feet. So inside wall. So what is the square feet? 30 into 10, 300. And multiply with C. Inside wall, right? 95 degree, it is 6. What if the wall is partially conditioned? If it is partially conditioned, you have to take that partial area only. Okay. If this only this half was, only this much was conditioned or this much area is unconditioned, you have to take only this much length and height. Okay. Now, where I have stopped? Okay. Yeah. Inside wall. Okay. See. So inside wall, see what will be my value? It is 6 for 95 degree Fahrenheit. For inside wall, it is 6. So I am multiplying with 6. I get 1800 BTU per hour. Fine. Now wall is over. Now I am going to deal with floor. Okay. Floor. Decide if the floor is directly on the ground or over the basement. So here, if you want to insert any value in this description 7, if the room is on the ground floor or if it is on the above the basement, you can just insert value here. If it is in first floor or any other floors other than basement or ground floor, you can just skip this 7th part. You can just skip this 7th part. Okay. So now I am assuming this is in the ground floor. So what will be my floor area? What will be my floor area? What is the area of my floor? Lecture classroom. My area will be 30 into 30, right? 900 square feet. So I am giving 900 square feet. And I have to multiply with D. So I am just seeing what is D. Floor transmission factors, various outside design temperature, insert at D. So outside dry bulb temperature, what is that? 95 degree Fahrenheit. What is my factor? 3. Correct? Got 3. So I am going to insert it 3. Insert 3 in D. Yeah. Now roof or ceiling. Okay. Roof also I am taking this as a horizontal roof. Okay. If there is ceiling, you can give roof or ceiling. So same 900. Okay. And E, multiply with E. So floor, why are we not considering unconditioned? I didn't get you. Why are we not considering unconditioned floor? We are just dealing with the condition space only, na? We are going to find the air condition for our lecture classroom, right? So we are focusing on that, right? We are not conditioning in the unconditioned space. So that's why we are looking only this 900 square feet, right? Now, now roof or ceiling, it is 900, okay? E is, we are multiplying with E. What is E? Roof or ceiling. Use only transmission factors of various outside transmission, insert at E. So you have outside dry bulb temperature, we know it is 95 degree Fahrenheit, and different options are given for the insulation. A roof with insulation, roof with 1 inch or more insulation, ceiling with occupied space above, ceiling with insulated and attic space above, ceiling uninsulated with attic above. These are the different options. Okay. So here I am just assuming that I am not insulating my roof. Okay. So here I am assuming my roof as roof uninsulated. So if it is uninsulated, what will be my value? It is 16, 16. Okay. I am giving that option 16. So I am putting the value here 16. Okay. Now my 8th one is over. Now I am going to deal with the 9th one, ventilation or infiltration. So ventilation or infiltration, I have to multiply F into G. So I am going to see what is this F and what is this G. What is this F? Yeah, F I have already calculated. It is written here. Height. How much is height? 10 feet. Right? Length is 30 feet and width is 30 feet. So what will be my CFM? Ventilation CFM? 150. So 150. So I have to insert 150 here. 150 here. That is F. So F means ventilation only. CFM. We have to find the CFM. The formula of CFM is the volume divided by 60. So you will be getting this 150. So give 150 there, and F into G. We have to find G, right? The last one is G. Ventilation or infiltration factor of outside design temperature in wet bulb to be inserted G. So outside wet bulb in degrees Celsius and degree Fahrenheit is given here. So what is our wet bulb temperature? We have already seen here, right? We have already seen what is our wet bulb. In Cochin, it is the wet bulb temperature is dry bulb, wet bulb. Wet bulb temperature is 82. Okay, 82. So just see whether 82 is there. So 82 degree Fahrenheit. So 75, 68, 72. Yeah, 81.5. So you could take us 82 here. And what is the factor? 57. 57 is my G factor. This G. So I have to insert at G this 57. Okay. 82 degrees Celsius, 82 degree Fahrenheit. My factor is 57. So I'm going to insert 57. Yeah. So last step, total BTU per hour cooling load to be used for selection of sum of item 4 and 10. So they have added all these things and they got 75,460 BTU per hour and they have converted into ton. They got 6.28 or 6.3 ton. So for that lecture classroom, you know, the air condition or the capacity of the air conditioner is 6.3 ton. So this is one of the method to find out the heat load calculation, or we can say it's cooling load. Yeah. Okay. So this is the way. This is the one of the method. Okay, OGen method or general method to find out the heat load calculation. So this is a simple sheet. Just know the description and just give the input values according to what they have asked, and then give its quantity, give its factor. The factors you will be getting directly from this, sheet itself. Okay, and then you give, and automatically you will be getting BTU per hour, and this BTU per hour will be converted to this ton of refrigeration, and the light load you can calculate from this side. Okay, so all other A, B, C, D factors you could get it from this tabular column. So this is one of the easy method. So if you want, you can just try it out this method also. Okay. So mainly OGen as well as we have E20 sheet also. E20 sheet also will be similar to this. Okay, it's an Excel sheet. It won't be similar, but that is also an Excel sheet. Okay. So this is the OGen. Okay, or general sheet. So is there any doubt regarding this? Is there any doubt regarding this topic? It's very simple. Okay. Yeah, I will share these sheets. Okay. I will share these sheets. In practically, which method we use? Practically, we will be using HAP method. Okay. For any comparisons, you can use this also. For checking purpose, you can use this. Okay. And you can use E20 sheet also for this. Okay. So, second. If we ask me, the sheet will be given to you. Okay. And you can just work it out according to your wish. Okay. Take any one question and just do it by yourself and try it out to get the ton value. Okay. Do we need to calculate separate for first floor? If you have, yes. If there are n number of rooms, you have to calculate like that. If there are 2 rooms, you need 2 sheets. You have to do it separately because each room is different. No? So that is it. That is the I have taken this much time because I am trying to teach you. Otherwise, I will take only 10 or maximum 10 or 15 minutes. Within that, we could, complete this. Understood what I'm saying? So if you have 10 rooms, uh, we'll be taking 10 different origin sheets because each room is different. Each room people will be different. Each room's, exposure will be different. Windows will be different. Okay, number of windows will be different. Okay, the area of the room will be different. So what we have to do, we need different sheets like this. There are 5 rooms. We have 5 different origin sheets. You have to calculate separately. Okay. The same way with the E20 sheet also. We have to calculate separately. Okay. And so any more doubts? Yeah, we can use this for all types of applications like commercial also. Okay, provided that all the values that you are given should be correct. All the areas and all the values that you are giving should be correct. Okay. So there are some limitations that we have. We will be able to give only this much 11 categories. Okay, that is the only thing. But still, we could find out the answer also. That's not an issue. Okay, we will get an answer. So, I would like to take some more topic today. So that is regarding the duct. I forgot to take that. Different, you know different fittings, right? Different fittings like elbows, shoe neck, reducers. So what will be the length and what will be the width that have to be given to each, that you need to know it. Okay. So I will 1 second. Okay. Just wait. And yesterday we were dealing with some thumb rule, right? Okay, we were dealing with some thumb rule. And if someone asks you, like, we can just write 125 to 150 square feet, we could take as 1 TR. Understood? So in that thumb rule, we can just write 150, 125 to 150 square feet. Normally, it's a thumb rule. It would give us 1 TR. So right there, right in that thumb rule that we have given yesterday, you just include this also. 125 to 150 square feet. Usually, it will be giving 1 TR. It's only a rule of thumb, okay? Now, now write a heading duct fitting. Duct fitting. So when you are drawing an elbow or uh, a shoe neck or a reducer, we need to know how much should be the radius of the elbow, or what should be the height of the shoe neck. That we have already just seen, but still I think you haven't written that. 150 to 120, not Kirti, it is 125 to 150 square feet. In that range, you could give uh, you know 125 or 135 to 150. 135 to 150 also no problem. Give us 125 to 150 square feet, 1 TR. 125 to 150 square feet, 1 TR. This square feet, okay, not meter square, square feet. Okay, fine. So when you are dealing with this duct and all, so write a heading duct fitting. So you can see this elbows, really shoe neck, transition piece like that. Okay. So when you are drafting, this will be important. This will be important. Yeah, this is just a rule of thumb. Okay. Mainly in this country only will be same. Okay. And depending upon other countries, the climatic conditions will be different. So it will be changed. So there will be able to use this software only. So in our country or in our locality, normally that's why I said it's a rule of thumb. Okay, it's not real value, but approximate you could say it. Now, when coming to duct fitting, this is the elbow. Okay, elbow. This is the width of the elbow, and this is the radius. So we need to know how much radius we have to give when we are drafting. When we are drafting, we need to know. So how otherwise how you will be drawing an elbow? Without this elbow, without this radius, you won't be able to draw this elbow, right? So these are different duct fittings. Okay. So first one, elbow. This is small radius, medium radius, and low radius. So if it's a small radius, if the duct is very small, okay, uh, what do you have to give the radius? You just multiply with 0.5, or half of the width would be enough for this radius. Okay. So if it's a medium radius, give the same size of width. For example, if the width of this is 100 mm, if it's a very small duct, you give the radius as 100 by 2, or 0.5 into 100. It is 50. The radius is 50. So if it's a medium duct or a medium size, for example, you take it as a 350. Sometimes 350 or 400. The width will be 400. Okay. Take this width as 400 or 500. Okay. The radius you can take it as the same of that of width. If it is a 400 width, take this radius also as 400. When you are drawing, when you are drafting. Okay. So if it's a very large duct. Okay. So in that case, if you need to give the radius for this elbow, take 1.5 times of the width. For example, if the width is 600, just multiply 600 into 1.5 and give that radius here. Okay. So yeah, that is when it comes to elbow, you have to do like that. The shoe neck, I think we have already seen it, but I will still explain that. We will be calling this as shoe neck or takeoff. You could call it any name. Okay. So this is the duct. I don't know whether we'll be able to see this. This is duct. There are two lines. Okay. This is the main duct. This line and this line. and the branch duct is what is attached by a shoe neck. You can see a shoe neck. So we have to give the height when we are drafting or when we are designing. We have to give this height, and we have to give a 45-degree from here to this main duct. If the width is greater than 600 mm, if the width of this branch duct is greater than 600 mm, give this height as 150. Okay. If the width is less than or equal to 600, give this height as 100. Okay, this is the main duct and this is the branch duct. Once you finish, just give a thumbs up, then I will show the next one also. You have to draw two lines here also. Okay, this is the main duct. This one and this one. Have you finished drawing this and writing this? Now, one more thing is the transition piece or reducer. This is concentric and this is eccentric, or this is eccentric and this is concentric. Okay. Now, transition piece, reducer. Okay. We could call as a reducer or a transition piece. You can see this. This is a main duct, or this is the larger duct. This is the smaller duct. This big duct is connected to a small duct by the help of a reducer. You can see help of a reducer. So this is this width. The width of the larger duct is W1. The width of the smaller duct is W2. The length of the reducer is L. So if W1 minus W2 into 4 is greater than 750 mm, give this L as 750. The width of this L as 750. Okay, this is concentric. This is known as concentric, where this side will be straight and this side will be reduced like this. Now, when it comes to eccentric, right? This is eccentric. Okay, not concentric. If W1 big duct minus small duct into 4 is less than or equal to 750, then this length will be 450. Okay, so you could see that how it has been reduced. Reduced like this. This is eccentric and this is concentric. So when you are drafting this, you have to keep this also in mind. Okay. So what will be the dimensions that you need to give for this reducers, elbows, shoe neck, or takeoff like that. So according to different dimensions or different, sizes, you have to give its proper size, okay, for fittings. So that is also an important thing only. Okay. So today we have studied about U factor, correct? So U factor is very important, and yesterday I have given the definition for the U factor. Okay, it is a reciprocal of the resistance. Okay, so which means U factor means overall heat transfer coefficient only. So it shows the how much amount of heat is been flowing through a particular material. Okay, and U factor is very important for all the materials like walls, floor, ceilings, roofs, etc. We need U factor because that determines how much amount of heat is been flowing through that material. So depending upon the constructions, we have different U factor. Normally, U value will be given by the architect. If it is not given, we have to calculate it by asking what is the material of the construction that they have used. Now, when we got the U value, okay, we have initially found out the U value by formula. Okay, the reciprocal of the resistance, or this is the reciprocal of the sum of the resistance. Okay, and then we have found a method to find out the heat load calculation for a cooling load, okay, uh, by a method known as OGen or O general. Okay, O general is a sheet or Excel sheet which is being designed by O general, I mean, manufacturers for their equipments. But still we can use for other equipments also. Okay, it will be giving the approximate same values only. So because of it is time consuming, we have other softwares, okay, for heat load calculations. Now, in Origin, we have seen, we have solved a problem, and we have received, or we have founded its result as 6.3 tons, 6.28 tons, by giving different input values. And we have to take the input values by looking different ASHRAE, tabular columns, and all those values are also important to find out the value. So if there are 5 different rooms, we have to have 5 different sheets. Okay, and at last we have found the duct fittings, different specifications or different dimensions of duct fittings according to the sizes of the duct that we are using. So tomorrow we'll be dealing with E20 calculation. So E20 is it's a bit longer. So what I will do is that I will try to finish with tomorrow itself, and it's a notes only. So you have to write it down. So when you write it down, it will be very easy for you to understand all other things. Okay, if you are using app as well as if you are using E20 sheet also, what I am teaching tomorrow, it will be better. You can understand it very easily. So there are calculations, but I am not asking you to do some calculations. I will show you my notes. You can just copy the notes, and tomorrow we can take E20 sheet also. E20 sheet also. Okay, just we can input or insert the value that we have calculated, that we are going to calculate tomorrow by manual method, E20 manual method. That value will be just inserting in the sheet, and you will be getting the answer of it. Okay, so tomorrow, if possible, we'll be taking E20 as well as E20 sheet. Okay. Then afterwards, I will just give a small assessment test. Assessment test in the sense I will give you some questions. Okay, I will just send you the mail, or I will just post it on the WhatsApp group. We just go through it and try it out to find out the answer. It's a simple answer only, simple answers only, and just send it back to me through mail. Okay, these are some questions that we have already studied. Okay, and I will give you a small test paper, and you can take your time, and within one day I need to get the answer. Okay, so, and I will give the I will be setting the question based upon the topic that I have taken till tomorrow. Okay, so some questions, it will be a one word question. Objective type questions will be there, subjective type questions will be there, and one small long answer question also will be there. So just go through it, and some objective type will be you need to search it or you need to find it out like that. Okay. So most of the answer you will be able to answer it. Okay. And yeah, that's all. Is there anything else that you need to know? Normally we'll be using this what the same, yeah, same means, yeah, we could draw 45. We could draw 45 according to the step itself. But mainly we'll be having only 90 degree, okay? We'll be using 90 degree only. We'll be using only 90, mainly we'll be using only 90 degree elbows only. 45 degree, it's very rare, okay? So, I think, is there any more doubts? If there is no doubt, just give a thumbs up so we can leave it. Leave our class, okay? So, just go through what I have taken today, and is there any more doubt? You can just ask me, or just we can leave it. Okay, Binas. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will share the table also. I will share the table also. No problem. So thank you. So thank you, students. So just go through it and prepare for that test that I'm going to give. Okay. So thank you so much. Thank you.